Good evening, everyone. This is the pre-council meeting for the city of Joliet with Mayor Terry Darcy presiding. You can call the roll.
Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Rudin.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation, Illinois Department of Human Services, Inclusion Efforts in Will County.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys so much for allowing not just the Illinois Department of Human Services, but our workforce partners here in Will County and the city of Joliet to come and present to all of you. This is our third time around. We're going to be very brief today just because, I understand that we have a limited agenda and time set aside for us, and you guys have a busy evening. The reason why we're here is we want to discuss with all of you some of the workforce development efforts that we have tirelessly worked together on to advance inclusive hiring in the city of Joliet, in Will County, and in all of Illinois. So with that being said, my name is Bishop Fuyal. I am with the Illinois Department of Human Services. We are the state's lead agency that provides services to people with disabilities and anyone that needs some sort of services in the state. Currently, if you are living in the state of Illinois, 1 in 3 residents receive some sort of services from our department. We're the largest department under the governor's jurisdiction. And in my work, I collaborate with workforce partners, community organizations, employers, really anyone that has a stake in disability employment, inclusive hiring. We try to work with them to make sure that employers and any stakeholders, any entities, any resources are providing those services and resources to job seekers with disabilities with the hope of folks finding jobs and careers and ultimately having them feel self-sustaining and independent as far as being able to provide for themselves and their families. So I'm also joined by several partners from the Will County American Job Center in Joliet, as well as an employer, Pace Bus, who has done a lot of work internally and externally to advance some of the causes that we're going to be talking about today. If there's any questions, I think we'll probably take them at the end, or we'll probably take them after this meeting. But I will provide my contact details to all the admin support folks here. So if you guys want to reach out to us, you can do that. So like I said, we're the state's lead agency that provides services to people with disabilities. We want to make sure that they're living independently. Our agency has 2 programs, vocational rehabilitation and a home service program. The VR program is a federally mandated program. 80% of the funding comes from the federal government. We are the state agency that administers that program. And the mission of our VR program is very simple. It's to assist people with disabilities obtain and maintain competitive integrated employment opportunities. 2 buzzwords there are competitive and integrated. Competitive means it's at or above the minimum wage, so nothing that's sub-minimum wage, nothing that's part of 14C. The state of Illinois, thankfully, is also going to be phasing that out in a few years, so anyone, regardless if you have a disability or not, will be making at least the minimum wage per your local ordinance. And integrated means it's employment opportunities in the community with peers that do not have disabilities, or majority of the people do not have disabilities. So, I always give the example of if an employer has 100 people, 51 of the individuals are individuals that cannot have a disability for it to be considered integrated. So this is mainstream employment. It's employment in the community. It's not in a sheltered workshop. And our goal is to make sure that everyone is working in the community, because you learn so much when you're alongside peers that may not have disabilities, and there's a lot to kind of take back. We're doing this by doing some of the things that I mentioned at the top, which is really working with the experts in workforce development. These are folks that run the American Job Center in each county, in each locality, and our goal is to get them to buy into disability hiring, collaborate with them on a lot of events and workshops and resources that help not just the job seeker, but also employers and other stakeholders in understanding the benefits of disability hiring, and also getting employers to getting employers to buy into our mission, but also providing them support. We, as a state agency, we work with a lot of community partners, a lot of them here in the city of Joliet, like Cornerstone and Trinity, where these folks, they have a lot of experts that are professionals in vocational rehabilitation, and we provide them a lot of funding and other resources to ensure that they're providing those individuals that need VR services, on a case-by-case basis. So those individuals are striving and getting all the services and resources that they need, not only at the job site, but also after they're done working, so they can kind of talk about what are some of the challenges that they're having and how they can adapt differently in the employer setting to excel. And then the other thing we do is we also provide a lot of resources to the employers too. We provide disability awareness training. We provide a lot of consultation on accommodations, because we want the employer to also feel comfortable in creating an inclusive workplace that is welcoming for people with disabilities. And it doesn't have to be someone with a disability. It can be really anyone that's kind of under that broader diversity, equity, inclusion umbrella. And it may include individuals that are returning citizens. It could include folks that have experienced homelessness. It could include people from the LGBTQ+ community. So we want to make sure that we're working together with not just employers, but also with workforce development agencies and local governments to maximize and optimize resources for those individuals that are often overlooked. And I know we're limited on time, but in the past 3-4 years that I've worked with folks here in Will County, we've done amazing things, not just around hiring events, but also workshops for the job seekers and employers. So they're both feeling confident about the resources that's available for them, and they're moving forward with bringing in candidates from marginalized communities, and these candidates are working for employers that are now confident and comfortable creating an inclusive environment for those individuals to excel in. All right, I'm going to pass it over to our partners at the American Job Center in Will County.
Thank you, Biz, and thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here with you all. I'm excited and very passionate about this. Who are we? We're Will County Workforce Services. We're here to see people succeed in life. So what we do, we help people who are just as impacted, unemployed, underemployed, people with disabilities, and much, much more. And what it is all about finding your passion in life. So Mayor Darcy, if you want to be a massage therapist, we can help you with that. Or if any of you guys want to be a CDL driver, we can help you with that too. Like I stated before, we help with the Wheeler Scholarship, career paths such as manufacturing, healthcare, IT, and transportation. About 90% of the people come in want to do CDL. And then we have other people do nursing and such as other things as other than that. And next, I'm going to bring up John Hall, who is a business services supervisor, and he's going to talk about DEI efforts in Will County. John?
Thanks, Andrew. And thanks for having me, everybody. My name is John Hall. I'm the business services supervisor over at the Workforce Services Division in Will County. Andrew just gave you a great rundown of our center as a whole. Like I just mentioned, I'm on the business services side, so I work primarily with businesses. So I'm just going to kind of go into a couple things on how we're implementing DEI with our businesses that we're working with. So just going into it, a little bit about what my team does. We plan job fairs, we plan workshops. Literally, if a business calls me and they need help with whatever the case may be, literally anything, we're going to try. If we can't help them, we're going to refer them somewhere. If we can't help them with a wage report, or just research in general with how their business is going, where they want to go, we're going to try to help them. But mainly it's a lot of recruitment, it's a lot of training, training employees, upskilling employees, and things of that nature for what my team does for the most part. So when it comes to DEI, we have started kind of changing the way we think about planning hiring events and planning events. So in the past, we would plan events based on industry or like positions. So like we would have a nursing career fair or a CDL career fair. And we found they weren't really that great attended. But then when we started to reshape the way we were thinking and kind of revamping it more towards demographic career fairs and events, that's when we found the best results. More people are coming out because they feel included. They know this group of people is going to be there. We're all interviewing together. We're all going to this job fair. And we also we put the ball in the employer's court as well. So say, for example, we had the Ability Career Fair up in the left-hand corner. That was for hiring people with disabilities. Before the Ability Career Fair, a couple weeks before, we had an employer workshop solely on hiring people with disabilities. So we're taking the employer, we're teaching them these things in the workshop, and then 2 weeks later, we're putting them on the spot. We're like, okay, go put it to work. Because now we just had you sit down, learn all these topics, have Biz give you his whole spiel on hiring people with disabilities. Now, how are you actually going to use it? Well, we plan this job fair for you as well. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. I mean, it's not just people with disabilities. There's returning citizens. We have a workshop coming up for age-inclusive hiring strategies. So there's a lot of different new and fun things we're working on, and I think we're heading in the right direction for sure. And I think this is yours as well, Andy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Okay, disability misconception. 1 out of 4 people have a disability. You know, a disability could look like ADHD, ADD, depression, Down syndrome, autism. Why are people with disabilities fearful so people with disabilities are fearful to tell their employers because they don't want to lose their job. They don't want to feel different. There's still that stigma out there. People always be looking at other people just because the way that they talk, the way they dress, the way that they look. But people with disabilities, people in general, are capable of working to the fullest standards. Will they fit in? They will fit in. You just have to have a welcoming environment. And what does a welcoming environment look like? Happiness, positivity, smile on your face, a simple hello, how are you doing today? Are they trainable? Yes. You have to have patience, kindness, caringness. You have to think outside the box to get that person's attention on how to train them. The cost of accommodation, is it expensive? No, it's less than $500. And then there's services out there that can provide the accommodations for free. Right now, we're going to have Beth Gonzalez from PACE talking about who they hire and how they hire people with disabilities.
And in case you don't know what the tie-in is, I'm the chair of the Workforce Investment Board. I also spent my adult life with HR and making an inclusive workforce, so I've got experience in working in this area. This is a culture change for a lot of places, and it's not an easy culture change, but the hiring process, if you make the hiring process easier, sometimes that might be large print. There's different things that you can do to make that easier. But when you onboard your employees, the new employee, regardless of who they are, there should be a program, a training program. You should have some kind of a mentorship with another employee. All of it should start, there's got to be somebody that's like your ringleader, your cheerleader within the organization that's going to help to promote this, that's going to help change this culture, because it is a culture change. People want to work where they feel like they're needed. They want to stay where they feel like they belong and where they're wanted. So changing that culture to include everybody is a way of doing that. An example in the hiring process of an accommodation that doesn't cost anything is look at your job description, and is it a requirement or is it a preference? It is a requirement that a bus driver can see. It is a preference that they can lift 50 pounds. That accommodation doesn't cost anything, but when you look at your job descriptions, a lot of times you're going to be excluding people unnecessarily or without even realizing that you're doing it. So minor accommodations like that, that'll help. Then when you have your staff together, you have to keep training your existing workforce on what your mission is, what your goal is, and you have to have somebody that's going to be a frontline employee to help you to get to that mission. If you don't have it, it'll all crumble. I am not going to read the whole slide, though. You guys have it in your pocket and you can look at it. But I am going to turn it back over to, I think, Biz.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up now. We were gonna have someone from the investment board also come in, talk to you guys about some of the work that they do. But, in summary, it's going back to some of the things that John said earlier about workforce development agencies, us as a society just kind of thinking differently, not thinking the way we used to conventionally think, which is just, trying to recruit certain types of job seekers. I think there are studies and data out there that shows an employer that embraces an inclusive workplace that includes diverse group of individuals just performs better financially. They perform better socially. They have a better public perception. The morale internally is also much higher. It just makes sense for businesses to think differently and hire candidates, not just individuals with disabilities, but anyone that has faced some sort of barrier to employment to think a little differently. And I think what we want to convey to you guys and to those employers is we as resource laden entities have those resources for them, so they're also prepared to bring in a new workforce that include people with different backgrounds and experiences. So we've done so much great work here in the city of Joliet. Those events that John mentioned earlier, whenever we have those specific events, there's just an amazing turnout of just not job seekers, but it seems like their whole community. They're parents, they're guardians, advocates, anyone that is really rooting for that individual to either get their first job or get a new promotion or get a better job. It just feels very, very community oriented, and I think at the end of the day, as long as the employer and the job seeker meet each other and find a place home for each other, then we'll definitely consider that a success. So I don't think we have any more slides. Those are our contact information, and there's a plethora of resources available, not just in the city of Joliet, but all of Will County to give to you guys, the employers, and also job seekers, so they can contact us or just come to the job center Monday through Friday and ask for Michelle. That's it. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, Larry?
I think that one.
So you are gonna introduce the one lady you wouldn't let talk?
Well, it's up to her. I think she just wants to say hi.
Come on, Michelle, get up here.
She's here for moral support. That was not the intention, Michelle.
Oh, I know her.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this amazing team that's been presenting on DEI and individuals with disabilities. It is definitely a passion of mine. In a previous, what am I looking for? My previous role as an educator, I was a special ed teacher, a special ed administrator. So I come with the passion to serve and remove barriers for individuals to reach their full potential. I am also a product of workforce development as a youth, and it changed the trajectory of my life. And it's come full circle. So I just want to thank everyone for having us. And if you have questions, concerns, reach out to us. I would love to partner with the city. We have not partnered before. We've gone to Frankfurt, New Lenox, University Park. We have partnered with those local municipalities, and we would love to partner with the city in which that's home to us. So thank you.
Thank you. You have a question, Larry?
Yeah, I'm just curious, a couple of questions. Could you explain what a justice impacted individual is?
Some of those previously.
You probably should, so people at home can hear you, because I'm sure they're curious.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, these are individuals that were previously incarcerated or, are returning back to society. And a lot of them are, looking for work. And, we actually attend a lot of reentry summits and, hear from these individuals that are coming back, to society. And I think the number one thing that they set their eyes on is finding employment, because that's going to provide a lot of stability, and a lot of them will have some sort of disability. And we're working with a lot of employers, Pace being one of them, and a few others here in Will County that are very open now to hiring individuals that were previously incarcerated, depending on the conviction and the crime. It's the landscape's changed a little bit, and more employers are open to hiring individuals. Granted, the offenses aren't severe. So yeah, the individuals that were previously incarcerated are the ones that are called returning citizens.
All right, so justice impacted, I was gonna ask you, what's a returning citizen? So that's also those that are coming out of prison?
Same thing, yeah.
Just two different terms?
Yeah. You can use them interchangeably.
And then you said predominantly, which department are you with the state on?
Department of Human Services.
Okay, and you said 1 in 3, so 1 in 3 Illinois residents get your services, is that what you told?
Receive some sort of services from our
4.2
department.
million people?
Yeah, so this includes like food stamps, Medicaid,
So
there's
it's not
6
just
divisions.
disabilities?
Exactly, it's just not
Okay.
disability, yeah. So
Okay.
the Illinois Department of Human Services has 6 divisions. They're the ones that have what were previously known as the Public Aid Office, now they're called FCRCs. That's where a majority of our customers, receive services from us, because they administer the food stamp SNAP program and Medicaid. We also have a division that focuses primarily on individuals that have like mental health diagnosis. We, operate a lot of state-run hospitals and developmental disability centers. There's a new division now that, provides services to young mothers, that are pregnant or have just recently had kids. So, this is just on a whole, 1 in 3 people that live in Illinois receive some sort of services from DHS.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, sure.
I just want to credit Michelle's staff and everybody here. I've been to Will County Workforce Centers, and I believe because it is a very diverse and inclusive environment, the people there are so happy. You walk through the door, everyone's smiling, and I think it takes a blending of many different types of people for harmony. And it is probably one of the happiest places in Will County I've been to an event. It's amazing, so thank you. And thank you for presenting too.
Of course, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the efforts. Michelle, I know you won awards for what you do, but your team is so strong, and I love the passion, and we appreciate everything you all do for our communities. Thank you. And if I want to switch careers, I'll give you a call.
That goes for anybody.
Thank you.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item?
I got some questions for these people, the Illinois Department of Human Services. As far as about the food stamps and Medicaid and all this stuff for people with disabilities, I'm a person on disabilities. And needless to say, I do not qualify to even get food stamps. I do not qualify to get Medicaid because of the fact even just my own personal vehicle I got just puts me over your stupid little asset limit, a $2,000 asset limit. That needs to be eliminated. Because just because we're disabled, that doesn't mean we don't own things. It doesn't mean we're not supposed to be able to own anything in our lives and just supposed to just live here with just the clothes on our back and our body. People are disabled, they get gifts from people. What are we supposed to do? Turn around gifts from people because people give us gifts for Christmas and our birthdays? And if they're expensive gifts, like, okay, my vehicle, which I got from my boss when he died.
Kathy, sorry to interrupt. This is a time to address the mayor and council on agenda items.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to address these guys, about this service that they claim they do for people with disabilities. But then, another thing I'm talking about is, of course, the CenterPoint item here. With CenterPoint wanting to go on and get their approval to do their subdivisions and that, but I don't think they should be allowed to be vacating the roads, like they did before, vacated Patterson Road on us and put their gate across there to where They limited us, we couldn't go use Patterson to get down to Brandon Road. You know, instead we had to be forced to use Laraway Road with the trucks and get stuck in the traffic jams, you know? And like I said, I've been done wrong so much by all this development and Center Point. You know, like I said, I ain't got nothing left, like Jan Coleman said, it's the end of the road for me. No, it's more like the end of my life. So, you guys need to think about this stuff.
Anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item?
Thank you.
Next, the city manager will review tomorrow's agenda items.
Thank you.
Okay, starting with Council Memo 152, 2023 Annual City Collectors Report, which is just what accounting does this annually for us. If there's any questions, Kevin Singh is here to answer. Not Council Memo 153, Award of Professional Services Agreement for Database and GIS Support Services to Great Pyrenees Technology LLC in the amount of $30,000. Council Memo 154, Award of Contract for the 2024 Bulk Polymer Purchase to Polydyne LLC in the amount of $149,200. Council Memo 155, Award of Professional Services Agreement for the Water Loss Control Program to M.E. Simpson Company, Inc. in the amount of $464,240. Council Memo 156, Award of Contract for the Utilities Department Generator Purchase Project to Metropolitan Industries in the amount of $115,310. Council Memo 157, Award of Contract for the Lockport Township Well House Demolition Project to Gould Brothers LLC in the amount of $42,548. Council Memo 158, Award of Contract Extension for the 2023 to 27 Landscape Maintenance Services Program to Ramiro Guzman Landscaping in the amount of $122,165.62. Council Memo 159, Award of a Contract for the 2024 Streetlight Assembly Painting Project. Contract A to Cosgrove Construction in the amount of $76,250. Council Memo 160, Award of Contract for the 2024 Lift Station Replacement Program, Benton Lift Station and Greenfield Lift Station to Aries Inc. in the amount of $1,882,000, and Amendment Number 1 for Construction Engineering Services to Donahue and Associates in the amount of $164,360. Council Memo 161, Award of Professional Services Agreement for Pre-Treatment Program Assistance to Baxter and Woodman, Inc. in the amount of $120,000. Council Memo 162, Award of Professional Services Agreement for the Phase 3 Engineering Services for the Chicago Street Landscape from Jefferson to Cass, City Square, and Water Main Improvements, Section Number 21, to V3 companies in an amount not to exceed $1,332,252. Council Memo 163, 2024 Advanced Traffic Management System, Phase A Network Switch Materials Purchase Order to Sentinel Technologies in the amount of $125,719.37. Council Memo 164, approve the purchase of 5 underdeck systems for the Utilities Department from Boss Industries LLC in the amount of $129,598.51. Council Memo 165, request to purchase 5 police units for the Joliet Police Department, 2 from Ron Tifarelli Ford Inc. for $88,944 and 3 Ziegler Auto Group for $86,754.09. Council Memo 166, Amendment Number 1 for the 2024 Sanitary Sewer Investigation and Rehabilitation Program, PSA, to RJN Group in the amount of $22,560. Council Memo 167, Change Order Number 3 for the 2022 Electrical Maintenance Assistance Contract to Van Mac Electric, Inc. in the amount of $15,707.39 and payment request number 8 in the amount of $21,771.42. Council Memo 169, award of contract for the East Side WWTP MCC replacement and alternate water supply project, SCADA project to MJ Electric LLC in the amount of $4,480,000, and award of construction services agreement to Strand Associates, Inc. in the amount of $434,200. If there are no further questions, I don't think we have any license and permit applications. We'll come down to ordinances. Council Memo 171, ordinances associated with the Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet, the Brandon Amendment subdivision, which is Phase 25. There has been a request for a closed session to discuss pending litigation, after which time we'll reconvene this agenda.
Is there a motion to enter closed session to discuss pending litigation, after which we will reconvene?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement? Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Time is 6:30. Let the record show that we have full mayor and council present. And we'll pass it back over to the city manager.
Thanks for hanging out, team. While we were in closed session, everybody who's still here. Okay, so I read it before, but I'll say it again. Council Memo 174, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between Heritage, oh no, sorry, excuse me.
171.
I was already ready to go on to the next. Council Memo 171, ordinances associated with Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet, granted amendment subdivision. Council Memo 173, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between Heritage Corridor Convention and Visitors Bureau and the City of Joliet for installation of Route 66 interpretive signs and objects at Route 66 Park at Broadway Street Greenway.
Mayor? The next item, just so you know, I don't know if they've informed you, Beth?
Yes, they
We
did.
table it as a committee.
Yeah.
So it'll be pulled before tomorrow.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
As Councilman Hug just stated, Council Memo 174, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between Heritage Corridor Convention and Visitors Bureau and the City of Joliet for the installation of electric vehicle charging stations was tabled at the Public Service Committee and will be removed from the agenda for tomorrow's meeting. Council Memo 175, resolution accepting license agreement from Forest Preserve District of Will County for the Parkview North 2024 Water Main Improvement Project. Council Memo 176, resolution declaring certain City of Joliet property as surplus. So we're scrapping cars on this one. Council Memo 177, resolution appropriating rebuild Illinois funds for the 2024 Advanced Traffic Management System, Phase A Network Switch Materials Purchase Order Number 1, in the amount of $125,719.37. Council Memo 178, resolution requesting approval to authorize Public Works Director to enter into joint participation agreements with the state of Illinois to buy salt. And that concludes the council memo items.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments? None. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
The motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.